Welcome, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy President's Day. Good to see you all. Today on the show, Captain America, Brave New World. The box office is in. Was it a flop or a hit? We will discuss with a group of versus contenders who have all seen the movie. We will be talking spoilers, plus movie news, your comments and questions. And it's somebody's birthday. It's a mystery birthday. You will find out who that person is. So let's get started. Let's kick things off. Let's go. Let's start the show. Hey, everybody. What's going on? Good to see you all. By the way, a happy belated birthday. Well, not really. It's a birthday month. For Verbal Riot, Dante James. It's his birthday month, February. So there you go.
Stop it. I don't do the birthday month thing, man. I'm a guy. My birthday is that day, and then it's over.
You should try birthday
right
year.
There. Yeah, I say Robert's right there. You're not going to wish him happy birthday?
God. Oh, that's right.
Hi, Robert.
Oh, you share the same day.
Yeah, in addition to RMB's birthday. There you go.
Yeah.
And it's President's Day. Does that mean it's the president's birthday? I don't know.
Well, it used to be what they used to celebrate Washington's birthday and I think Lincoln's birthday, and now they just combined it into President's Day. That's the reason why we celebrate President's Day, I think. Yeah.
Actually, USA thinks that's wasteful.
Right.
Spending,
yeah.
So it's going to be eliminated. This might be the last time we celebrate.
Yeah.
Well,
Doge is combining it. That's right.
Oh, there you go.
Now, because Trump's the president, we can't celebrate President's Day anymore, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. People will be against it. But let's say hi to Lord Comet for 2. Happy birthday, Riot. My birthday is next month. Thank you, Lord Comet. And I want to say like, share, subscribe. You know what to do. Subscribe to the channel. Follow us on X, Instagram, and join us as a member so you can see us on our Discord. You can see actually Alan on the Discord. I have not been there. I need to go. But you can also get the shirt, the very shirt I'm wearing now. The Free to Be Indie Film Threat shirt. Very patriotic, appropriate for President's Day. So go to shop.filmthreat.com and support our work. We have new shirts coming out inspired by Disney, the Fantastic Four. I have a meeting with Atomic Lori. We're going over new shirts. I'm very excited for those. So, all right. I assume you all saw Captain America, Brave New World. Before we get to the review, or I want your thoughts, let's talk box office here. Alan, how did the movie do?
The movie came in at number 1 at 87.8 million domestic and 100 million worldwide.
100 million worldwide.
Yes.
So that means only 13 million, 13 some odd million worldwide?
Yeah, let's see if
that seems kind of low. Is that right? I see a thing here.
No, I'm sorry. Never mind. Okay, so 87.8 million and then 92.4 million international, coming in at 180 million worldwide.
That sounds
192 right now currently.
Yeah,
that sounds right. It's also, it's a holiday weekend, so there you go.
Yeah, and then Australia is the big winner for Captain America.
I guess they like Captain America. So all right, well, in terms of the box office, what do you guys think? And then I want to get your thoughts on the film as well.
I guess I'm not completely surprised by the numbers. I knew it would do probably decently well the first week, just because number one, there's nothing out right now for people to watch. So
right,
it had that going for it. And honestly, we'll get into the review of the movie, but it was meh enough to where I could see where people at least walked out feeling like, that was a movie. I don't know. This isn't really that surprising
These aren't good numbers though at all. They're
No, at all,
worse than Quantumania. They're worse than Thor: Love and Thunder. This is well under the projection originally of like 90 something when it came in at 88.5. So yeah, this is bad. This is bad.
Yeah,
it's bad, but I think we all expected worse.
It's about where I thought it would crash out at. I thought it would be in somewhere under 90 million. They said it would get up to 95, maybe 100 million for the 3-day. So now you got to add President's Day to get it to $100 million. It's well below Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania during the same weekend 2 years ago. So it just shows diminishing returns for Marvel. This is not a good sign for this movie. It's already got the worst cinema score in MCU history on top of this. So yeah, this is all bad. This is all bad.
And in light of the fact that, I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine did exceptionally well. That was kind of an anomaly because
it's a Fox movie, like
it's not,
holdover.
Exactly. It's not part of this overall MCU story. And what the movie did, it did advance threads from other Marvel films. There is an overall story of the Marvel universe, usually leading to an Avengers movie. So this, at least it advanced that story. Did it do well in that regard?
I think it did a good job in finally getting back to a storyline from 17 years ago in a Hulk movie, but it's Captain America. Like, all right, what are we doing here, guys? Are we telling a Captain America story? Is this Sam Wilson's movie? It didn't feel like Sam Wilson's movie, and I know we'll get to that, but I think that kind of leans to the reasons that the box office didn't perform well, because people weren't showing up knowing, okay, I know what I'm about to get. I don't know what this movie was. And I think a lot of audiences were, kind of holding off and saying, all right, let's see what Marvel gives us. Because over the last 4 years, they've given us a lot of when it comes to storytelling. Really shaky storytelling, multiverse all over the place. Does this fit in the multiverse? Does it not? We see the Eternal guy coming out of the ocean. What is that all about? Are they going to wrap that storyline up? It just seemed very helter-skelter all over the place. And that's the reason why I think a lot of people just held off to wait and see what everybody else thought. The Rotten Tomato reviews were like not good. So I think a lot of people just stayed away and they said, I can wait for Disney Plus.
And let's look at that. Let's look at the Rotten Tomatoes critic score is actually 50%. The audience score much better at 80%. Look at that.
Give it time.
So 257 critics reviews. Alan was a part of that. You gave it a 3.
Did mine finally show up?
I'm not sure, but it's 50% on RT and 80%. It's actually ranked 33rd out of 35 Marvel movies. I'll go to that screen in a second. There's a divide with audiences. Are audiences loving this? And, what are we going to see on second weekend? What kind of drop?
I mean, I don't know if the audiences are loving it. I just think that because there's nothing out right now, it was entertaining enough. I mean, there were, and I say that very loosely. I mean, it was entertaining as much as we expected this movie to be. So I think because of that, it kind of beat expectations, and maybe the audience is being more generous than they would normally be. Either that, or maybe I'm completely wrong, and this was a great movie, a fantastic movie, and I'm completely off.
Keep watching till you like it, Dante. Just to keep.
Let's not forget Mufasa did very well after the first week and continues to do well.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't predict.
Sorry, Alan.
Yeah, no.
Honestly, though, when you look at audience scores, you got to get in the 90s for the audiences to really show how well the audiences are loving a movie. Anything below a 90% on the audience score, to be very honest with you, is still questionable. You got to look at the movie and see what's going on with it. A lot of very bad movies got good audience scores because people just said, it's just entertainment. It's something to watch. And they'll just go and watch it. They'll give it a 4 or 5 star and they'll move on. But when you see the ones that are beloved and the audiences are really rocking with it, it's always somewhere up in the, I think Super Mario Brothers was at 95, 96%. You got to look at stuff in the 90s. That's when the audience is all together loving the film. This is just, it still tells me that the audience really isn't feeling it as strongly, as maybe some other people might think.
Well, I did a show on this last night, and when I went and saw it Thursday night in a great presentation. The thing about this movie is it's the 4th Captain America movie. And you've got the Avengers and you've got everything that we've seen before this. this movie deserved better treatment in terms of the creatives that were involved.
Yep.
And the writers were out of their league. The director had never done anything that what you needed for this movie more than anything to bring in creatives that were of the same caliber as early Marvel. You know, you needed to get a director like Favreau or Kenneth Branagh or even a Joe Johnston, you know, who never came back to the MCU, but he did Captain America: The First Avenger after doing The Rocketeer for Disney, which is much more beloved than it was when it came out. And that's what I don't understand, is that you might the Marvel Cinematic Universe has already it already has precedent for itself. This movie should have been treated like it was the introduction of a brand new character.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
this film is not even about Sam Wilson.
Nope.
And it was much more why they decided to make this a long tail sequel to the Hulk is baffling to me. And this had more, the president, Thunderbolt Ross, had more going on personally. I want to see my daughter again. You know, I'm dying. All this, I have to make amends for the past. It was all this stuff. And I'm like, why? You have three great characters. The new Falcon was great. You have the original, the middle Captain America. You know, Carl Lumbly should have been the MVP of this movie. And he should have been participating. He should have donned a Captain America costume, and they should have fought together. And you had Anthony Mackie taking on the mantle of Captain America. And these three guys could have been like the Three Musketeers and given you a mini Captain America's and Falcon team that were delving into a mystery. And when I watch this, I'm like, what? How could you have not looked at the precedent of the political thrillers that the Russo brothers and Marcus and McFeely, the writers of Winter Soldier, clearly did? It's like the people who wrote this movie never looked at. There's been political thrillers for the last 60 years that they could have drawn from to make this movie. And instead, they're trying to make a sequel to the Hulk, you know, that everyone forgets is an MCU movie. And it was so frustrating to watch this because the pieces were there. And they had all this stuff that they could have made a great film. And I was saying last night on my show, the Jack Ryan movie, the third Jack Ryan movie that stars Harrison Ford as Jack Ryan, Clear and Present Danger, should have been the template. They could have just ripped off that movie in terms of its structure, and it would have been a great film. And I think what was frustrating was they had all the pieces to make this a great movie. They did not have the talent to bring it together. And all the actors were let down, and the MCU was let down because of it. It's mildly entertaining. But to me, it's like you go back and you look at the guys who wrote this movie. Come on. They were out of their league. The director was out of his league. You needed to bring in a heavy hitter to make this movie work. You needed what Martin Campbell did twice for James Bond in GoldenEye and in Casino Royale. Hell, he would have been a perfect director for this. But then he's made Green Lantern, and people would say that puts him out of the running. But whatever. Well, it was very disappointing, this film. And we
talked about it yesterday, Rob. It's the writers of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Those are the guys that wrote this movie. And I think a couple of them had, some experience on television as well with Empire, things like that. Yeah. Someone wrote The Princess and the Frog. These are the writers that were working on
Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet, yeah,
not
working on a political thriller. You know, it's like, okay, you could have gotten. I think Marcus and McFeely wrote the first three Captain America movies.
And Endgame and Infinity War too,
as well as those two. So you needed somebody that had a comic book knowledge. I think Dante had put a tweet out. It said the people that wrote this never picked up a comic book in their life, man. Never. They've never looked at a comic book until it was maybe time to write this movie. Then they opened up a comic book and finally said, "Oh, well, these characters are about," because Captain America, or Sam Wilson, I should say, he's not even his own character. He's got like the powers of everybody. He's got Ant-Man's things. He's got the vibranium shields on his wings. He's holding Cap's shield. He's not his own person. He's an amalgam of a bunch of different characters, and he doesn't feel authentic to who Sam Wilson should be. You know, so it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work on any level.
he wasn't authentically chosen. I was on a 2-hour stream with Bo DeMeo last night, and basically everything we've thought of got confirmed. This is all just holdovers of horrible decisions made to appease the socio-political movements of BLM and woke and all that. And now we're stuck with the ramifications. We're stuck with people that were failing laterally and up, again, for DEI and things like that. And now we have to deal with it. Robert, we also talked about it yesterday. Instead of referencing genre, they reference themselves. They just reference past movies. This happens in Star Wars. They don't give a shit about black characters. They don't care about Sam. They skipped over Bucky for a reason. And Bo's biggest criticism of this one was that Sam has no story. It's a Captain America movie, and Captain America has no story in it. And that's because the higher ups, and he did name names, Feige and his little cabal, they don't care about this shit. They care about their own ends.
You guys were talking about better writers, better directors, all these things that this movie needed. You have to remember the movie that we got wasn't the movie that they started with, right? That was never the movie they wanted to make. They didn't want to make a great Captain America story. They wanted to make a great, hey, this black person is taking over a white person's role story, right? Like that was the original, and that's why it went through 4 reshoots or however many reshoots it went through, because that was the movie they wanted. They never intended on making a good or even decent Captain America movie. That was never the plan.
Yeah.
It was just
I want to know, did
Sam solidify a black man as Captain America so that all of America can see that, America is now represented by a black character, regardless to who the character was.
Yeah, I want to know, though, did Sam ultimately get his boat loan?
Well, he got some kind of loan because he had a nice pad, right? In the movie,
buying driving around in a Hummer. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, there's a Captain America lair in this movie.
Yeah,
with a big with outside a big Captain America insignia. Like if anyone wanted to come after him when he was, say, sleeping, you could go to the Captain America lair or their headquarters, the clubhouse. I'm like, what is this? And by the way, is Captain America working for the military the way Rhodey is still in the military? Or
that's
what is he? Like, I don't understand.
They didn't establish any of that.
They never established any of that stuff, man. It's just
for the military, but he's not in any leadership way.
But it's such. These are things. All of these details. I talked about this at length about genre last night. Understanding the genre you're working in, and until you understand, like there's this great Japanese term. I'm not going to pronounce it right, called sekikai, and basically it means worldview. And all Japanese creators, whether they're working in manga or video games, they look at, like Tolkien as an example. You have to create the world that your story is set in first. What are the rules of the world? And then once the worldview is established, you can have your characters interact in that world however you want, but the world itself is immutable, like Middle-earth. The world of Middle-earth is created, and now we have a whole series of creators that do not understand the very genres that they're working in. They don't get it. They don't understand, like the people with Rings of Power. Yeah, we want to tell a story about Galadriel, but we're not going to make her the way she was. We're going to make her more contemporary. Well, what you're doing is you're changing your worldview. And that's what's happening with Star Trek, with Doctor Who, with Star Wars, with Marvel. We have all these creators that want to come in and they want to change the worldview of everything. And like if you're talking like Badger was saying, you have the MCU, but you should make Sam Wilson's Captain America within that worldview. Don't change the worldview and make it contemporary to us. People will accept any color character you give them if the character is well written and given a lot to do. You could have put Sam Wilson in a position where through his character and the machinations of the plot, he earns the audience. Every character has to earn the audience's trust and the audience's adulation. If you're not setting up a story where a character gets the opportunity to do that, you've failed. And the thing is, they're relying on Sam Wilson being black to, that's supposed to carry him through. No, you've got to make him a great character, because nobody ultimately cares about the color of a character if the character is great. And we've seen that time and time again. You watch a show like The Expanse. The Expanse posited that in the future, a lot of human beings are going to be mixed race, and they cast it appropriately. And there was all different kinds of ethnicities in The Expanse: white guys, black guys, foreign people, women, and people love that show. Nobody thought, well, this is a very woke show. No, because all those characters earned the audience's trust and their adulation. And it's so frustrating to watch something like this. Marvel should know better. This is 35 movies in. They should be a well-oiled machine. They should be delivering banger after banger after banger. And they have let us down since Far From Home.
It's almost like Kevin Feige is a charlatan.
A couple quick things I'll say. The thing that bothered me most, because I think story-wise, even effects-wise, you can accept something not being up to par. But I don't know who Sam Wilson is.
Right.
And I show this X-Men issue 19 cover, 12 cents, with the Mimic, because as I was watching the movie, I'm thinking, this is like the Mimic. He's got Ant-Man's helmet. He's got Falcon's wings. He's got Wakanda Iron Man powered suit.
Vibranium.
He's got Cap's shield. And by the way, I have the Ant-Man popcorn bucket, which went down in value from after I bought it. But I just think about the Mimic, which is a ridiculous X-Men villain, but kind of cool, you know? And it reminded me of that. Like, I don't know who he is as a character. I know who Steve Rogers is. He is a kid from Brooklyn that would not give up, that could do this all day, that would jump on a grenade and sacrifice himself to save friends, right? Like I don't know. And by the way, I like Sam Wilson as a character. I like Anthony Mackie a lot as Falcon, but you're right, he needed to be established. We needed not necessarily an origin, but I want to know who he is, where he comes from, what matters to him, because a well-defined character, you know how they'll react in any situation.
Didn't you watch the TV show, Chris?
I have do your homework, Chris. Come on, do your homework.
Come on, man.
You know, one of the ways that you can kind of, flesh out a character is through the relationships that the character has. And we saw that with the original Steve Rogers, because Steve Rogers, his character is fleshed out not just in his relationship with Bucky throughout all 3 films, but also with his relationship with Peggy Carter. And we don't have any relationships that Sam is connected to. I guess there's something with, young Falcon, the little Falcon, but we really don't get enough of that. And so that's another major issue, is that I don't know who this character is, because he doesn't have any relationships that ground him and make me understand his character through the eyes of another character. Like, that's sometimes a shortcut cheat code to try to get me to understand these guys. I don't understand him. And he doesn't even have his own villain. I mean, these are other people's villains that he's fighting. He's not even fighting his own villains. So at some point in time, it's like, all right, I don't know who this character is, and I'm not invested in his journey. I don't care. He already actually went on the journey to become Captain America in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So at this point, it's just rehashing a very bad idea, in my opinion.
DA, I got to say, to that point that you just made, we know that Falcon got his wings in a certain division of the military where he was flying with those wings as part of his military training. How great would it have been to open this movie where you go to some test range and we meet young Falcon, and Anthony Mackie had been training this guy before he became Captain America. They were friends. Maybe you find out that Anthony Mackie was training a whole cadre of the same soldiers to use the same wings that he was using. And they could have had a sequence where the two of them, had a race, or you saw these guys training, and this guy, the guy who is the new Falcon, is the best of the flyers and is going to supplant, there was literally a passing of the torch to the new Falcon. So you establish that these two guys have this relationship the same way that Captain America met Sam Wilson in the beginning of Winter Soldier. Right. Give them that has nothing to do with the plot. You're a building character. You're showing, and you can tell us what branch does the military, how does Captain America fit in? And he's still training people. And you could have done all of these things. And the thing is, the template for this stuff is already there. But and they did none of that.
We're talking like the Falcon was, like the only problem with this movie, right? I mean, there were too many problems with this movie, man. And for me,
I'm just using an example how they could have opened it.
And I said this on my review that I did on my show. I am Captain America is my favorite superhero. He has always been my favorite superhero. I've been reading Cap comics since the 80s, man. And like I said, the fact that they brought in the Serpent Society is ridiculous to me, especially if you're just going to make them basic terrorists. Sidewinder completely just demolished his character like they did Crossbones, I should say, in Captain America in Civil War. It's like this disrespect of these characters, but that's fine. I get it. It's a movie. You want to try to shoehorn some things in, whatever. I'm not even speaking as a Captain America fan. As a fan of just movies, the things they tried to shoehorn into this film are ridiculous. And we haven't even gotten into Sabra yet. We haven't even gotten into Sabra yet. So the ridiculousness of this film, man, it's like, you know what it feels like? It feels like a patchwork movie.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Together, and nothing made sense.
Yeah. The fact that they threw and somebody just threw up Giancarlo Esposito, the fact that he came in this movie and he just feels so stitched in, like he was never a part of anything original. There was never any plan to have this character in here at all. I think he only shows up on screen with Sam Wilson. He's never seen anywhere else. He's in 3 scenes and he's gone. And it's
those are the 3 scenes they reshot and added in specifically.
Yeah, it's just like It doesn't naturally flow into the story at all. It's literally like, oh, wait, hold on, stop the movie. All right, Giancarlo Esposito, let's get his scene in here. All right, let's shoot that. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, we got it. All right, go back to the movie. And it's like, what was that? I don't understand how that happened. Like, you guys couldn't come up. But see, this is going back to what James Gunn has said about Marvel. They don't have a script. When they start shooting, they don't have a script. They're shooting off of ideas. They're shooting off of, random thoughts or whatever, but they don't have a clean script from beginning to end that tells a story. All they have are ideas and things that they want to piece together from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Hey, let's get some Eternal stuff going. Let's get the Hulk villains in here, and let's try to make a story out of this. And there's no script. And they're about to go and shoot Avengers Doomsday. They're going to start shooting that in a couple of months without a script. They've already said they don't have a script yet. So it's like we're going to be back at the same point. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is falling off the cliff because they don't think story first, character first. They're thinking everything but story and character. So to your point, Dante, Captain America and Sam Wilson aren't the only problems with this, but it's the biggest problem because it's Sam Wilson's movie. If Sam works, you can make the rest of this movie work because you have a character I care about. But if I don't care about the main character, like, why would I care about anything else in this movie? I'll follow a main character's journey to the end of time. I'm not going to follow this crap.
Hey, Epic Mike. Just want to say, Epic Mike joining late. Mike, your thoughts on Captain America: Brave New World? And
also, really quick, Mike, before you say something, I posted a link. I posted a link in the private chat, Chris, where you can show what Sidewinder looks like in the comic.
Yeah, I'll share it.
Carlo Esposito character.
Yeah, he doesn't look anything like his comic book character.
Nothing like that.
Well,
no, but just to show you what they shoehorned into this film.
This is John with some makeup.
That is
Giancarlo Esposito.
Explain the image. I understand.
If you squint and turn your head sideways, you kind of see Giancarlo Esposito.
I know, but am I supposed to be impressed by this?
No, but my point is to just throwing names out there, right? It's just name only.
Yep.
Anyways, Mike, what did you think of the film? What are your thoughts?
This is not the worst film that Marvel's ever done, but it certainly feels like the weakest film that Marvel's ever done. Because I was kind of shocked at how disjointed this movie felt.
Yeah.
It just feels like 3 or 4 movies all like Frankenstein together. It's funny because I was talking to somebody recently about this and watching them try to go back and tie up loose ends that were left over from like the Incredible Hulk, stuff like that. Like 10 years ago would have worked. We would have been so happy to see them referencing things from other movies and making callbacks to films that were all connected. This feels like Marvel going, hey, remember all those things that we just like dropped the ball on. Well, guess what? We went back and like remembered a little bit of what we talked about. So like, how about we reference those things now? And so then you turn a character like the leader into a knockoff version of Zemo, who does the exact same thing that Zemo does, but on a worse caliber. You have, you know, non-powered Captain America fighting a Hulk toe to toe and like almost winning that fight. It's just a mess, man. I was legitimately shocked. And any movie that drops the ball and fumbles the ball with Giancarlo Esposito needs to be just removed from theaters. If you can't make Giancarlo Esposito work in a film, like, you have nothing going for you whatsoever. Like, the guy is charisma in a bag. He's a bankable character anywhere he's in, and they just completely and utterly fumble with this. Yeah, the movie's a mess. I was not a fan at all. So
let me throw one thing on top of all of this. The thing that got me, especially into the third act of the movie, was the dialogue. The dialogue was awful, especially the moment between Betty and Thunderbolt Ross at the prison. That whole thing was just a soap opera mess. And I remember, and the other thing about the dialogue is there's so much foreshadowing in this movie that when Sam and the Red Hulk are fighting, I knew right away that he would beat him through empathy. You know, it's like my problem, and this is the thing I'm noticing, is that any film made after or before 2010, I think people think that was written by old white guys. Male and Pale is stale. And so current writers believe that they are great and that they could buck the trends, discard all the classics, and tell stories in new and exciting ways. DEI part of it, and they don't, and they're unwilling. As Rob, you say, you know, there's so much great political thrillers out there. All you have to do is watch a few, find out what you like about it, and then put that in your movie. But for some reason, this movie is just pure action, one action scene to the next, and that's what seems to be what these filmmakers think is enough to bring people to the theaters, and it's not enough.
Well, also,
movie should say something. Movie should speak to you.
It makes no sense. For instance, why isn't Wakanda an element in this movie?
Yeah.
You know, you talk about the fact that Sam Wilson is now wearing Wakandan tech, presumably the best Wakandan tech they've ever made, considering those wings can deflect blows from the Hulk. They control vibranium, which has been suddenly there's a metal that's more powerful than vibranium. Well, their balance of power has been now threatened. Why is it that we're talking about a global crisis and you have India, France, and Japan?
Right.
And that's it?
Not China. Not China.
China doesn't exist. Not Russia, not Eastern Europe, none of Europe. I'm looking at this going, shouldn't some envoy from Wakanda be a part of this film? And that would be something like, why isn't you know, one of the you had Ao from the Dora Milaje in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Why wouldn't she have a relationship with Sam? And why wouldn't, like, because what do they do? You know, go take our tech. I would think that if anything, Captain America might have ties to Wakanda, considering they gave him the tech, and would be conferring with them. Wouldn't that be the first? He'd be like, "Tell me about this adamantium. Like, what's going on with this? What do you guys know?" And it's so weird that it's called Brave New World, and the worldview, it could have been epic, and yet it's ridiculous. You have like 3 prime ministers, and we're pissing off Japan. It's so weird.
Well, what you're describing is a political thriller.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
And you know what? Like you said, Alan, I mean, all of these writers that are working on all our beloved stuff.
X-ray girl.
They do not know what they're writing. They don't know the genre tropes of political thrillers in the first place.
And they don't know these characters.
No.
You're telling me we have the leader, right? And his big plan was just to turn Harrison Ford into the Red Hulk. Not to control the Red Hulk himself, because that's what a super villain would do, right? No, just to turn him into it and set him loose. That was somehow that was his big grand plan
to make him look bad, so that he would look bad to his daughter. Like, this is
I don't know if it was mentioned
about y'all.
I don't know if this was mentioned, but this movie had 5 different writers on it. And it's 6, and it shows how like everybody went in different directions. And also, like, I want to point out too, like, Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2 did not have a script when they started filming. But everybody on that movie was so good at their craft, and they were pros. And this is including Justin Theroux rewrote the script. I don't know if people remember the reports, but he like ended up bedridden because he was so stressed out because he was doing daily rewrites for Iron Man 2 as they were filming. But once again, those movies are better than this film. So at some point in time, there's such a step off in quality and talent in the writing teams at Marvel that they made Iron Man, which is still one of the best MCU movies, with no script. They were winging it. They were making up dialogue. They were just letting these actors do what they do best. And in this movie, like, they had 6 writers, and the writing is weaker than anything in Iron Man 1 or 2. It's like,
I wonder what happened. It's almost like they stopped hiring based on merit and started doing it solely on intrinsic qualities like race and gender.
Yeah, I remember hearing Jeff Bridges talk about how he and Robert Downey Jr. would huddle, and the other actors would huddle in a tent before shooting and discuss what they would do and what they would say. And that's Iron Man 1.
Yeah, but you have actors in those movies that have been working for literally 50 years. And telling stories.
You could get away with that in the first of a cinematic universe. First film. You got a lot of room to play with. You don't have to keep all of these storylines and characters lined up and everything. You could probably get away with that, especially when you got talent like Jon Favreau, Robert Downey Jr., etc. But when you're on film number 35, you need a script. You need a script. You need a Bible. You need people to line up. Hey, what's this character's motivation? Like you said, you're forgetting things like, hey, shouldn't Wakanda be involved with this some way, somehow? Oh, they're not thinking because they're just winging it. They're doing this based on ideological purposes. We need to show that a black man can be Captain America, and that's really the only thing that matters. And then that somehow got pulled out of the story, which is even they pulled that right on out of the story.
They're also playing it safe. They don't want to make things too complicated that they can't write the way out of it. And so you get a bland movie like this.
Let's talk for a second about how the political intrigue in that it was no more sophisticated than Zoolander. It literally is Zoolander.
Or Ace Ventura. Ace Ventura had more intrigue.
Derek.
And also, by the way, I always thought that T'Challa, Black Panther, should have been the leader of the Avengers. The way he, first of all, runs a country, so already has admin skills. He had a leadership quality and kind of a regal, the way that Chadwick Boseman played him. It was so regal. He was the obvious choice to be the leader of the Avengers going forward. Somehow this all falls to Sam, and it doesn't seem
because they killed T'Challa. They let T'Challa die. They should have kept him alive.
That was a terrible thing to do. I mean, with all due respect to Chadwick, and it was tragic, but my God, out of respect to the character and fans of the character, that was dumb to do. I did not like that. But look, it seems like a mess now. How are they going to fix all of this? And here we are. I put the link in the private chat if you guys want to look. These are all the Marvel movies ranked on Rotten Tomatoes. Captain America Brave New World comes in at 33 above the Eternals. 33 out of 35. I mean,
what's number 35?
35 is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. But
don't fix it, Chris. You wait for everything to reset after Secret Wars.
Hope
they don't lose too much money on the road there.
The Marvels beat it. At
the problem, Chris, is people don't. The people they're hiring don't know these characters and they don't know these stories. They don't know comics at all, man.
And they're not allowed.
You have Sam Wilson, unpowered, fighting the Red Hulk. We're about to get the Thunderbolts, about to fight the Sentry.
And
what are we doing here?
One of the most powerful characters in Marvel is going to go.
Admittedly, in the trailer, they do say, "What are we supposed to do against this person?"
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so they have a little self-awareness.
You know what's probably going to happen is they'll end up in some kind of field with flowers going everywhere, and they'll talk about, hey man, don't be a jerk, and he's like, oh man, I'm sorry, and then the whole movie.
You're right. Take me in.
Yeah, sorry guys, I didn't mean to kill all those people. My bad. I'm a
Red Guardian's going to crip walk, and that's how they're going to beat him.
Hey, so why did Sam not take the serum? What was the point of that?
Oh, because you said that his superpower is empathy, and he's an everyman.
No, but
Yeah.
if he had,
Serum, he
if
wouldn't
he had
be.
explained
That-
why he didn't take the
Well, he
serum,
kind
then that
of
would've
addresses
said
it.
something. I'm sorry, you could
Excuse
build
me,
a story around the fact that he won't take the super serum.
Well, he
What
kind
is
of
the
addresses it in like
downside?
Falcon and Winter Soldier that he wants to be his own person and he doesn't want to necessarily just follow in the footsteps of Captain America. And they do a lot of talking about that serum. But the thing is, at the end of the day, if you're struggling against basic foot soldiers. There's 2 times in this film where literally the bad guy says in a monologue, I'm just leaving because you can't beat the guy that I have walking in the room here. And by the time you get done with him, I'll be long gone. And they just walk away. Like straight up, they just leave the room. The guy's like, oh yeah, I brought in 4. The leader's like, I brought in 4 foot soldiers because I know you can't beat them in time for me to get out of here. Like, imagine anybody talking to Captain America that way. Like Steve Rogers would have wiped the floor with everybody in that room immediately. Like
The elevator scene does not work with Sam. He'd get his ass kicked.
Absolutely. Immediately get tased into the floor, drooling. And like the thing is, and I said this, if you're not going to take the serum and you're going to make that a point of character development for him, then you have to have contingencies. You have to show people that you are prepared for any and all situations. And there are multiple scenes in here where he doesn't even have his shield with him when things go down.
Yeah,
Dude,
because Sam Wilson isn't a strategist. He's not a
no
master
Batman.
strategist. He's
Yeah.
none of that.
He's just a guy with wings, and when he doesn't have the wings, he is at a massive disadvantage against everybody in a room. And it's crazy to me that they think that that's good writing. At some point, you have to say, hey, if you don't take this serum, everybody that dies is on you.
But also the leader should have been the smartest person in the movie, and he
Yes,
wasn't.
no, he was not.
And
Nope.
he wasn't.
Yeah, it's sad, man.
And let's talk about Sabra for a minute.
Oh my god!
I'm sorry,
Right,
man. No offense to that actress, but she looks like a dwarf. She might be a dwarf, and
She's
maybe
5 feet
I'm
tall.
wrong. Like she looked like she was about 4'11", right, 90 pounds, and she's throwing around grown ass men like it's nothing.
Yep.
Well, you
With
know,
no-
she survived the
no
Red
power.
Room, man. She's a former widow. She survived the Red
That
Room.
doesn't
I mean,
mean-
you know.
But
Dude,
once
she's
again-
a pygmy, and she's throwing around grown ass men.
Yeah, nah. I'm
Believe
just
all
joking.
women, Dante. Just
I'm
believe
just
it.
joking. Yeah, nah, nah. She's
Look
tiny.
at this shit right here.
Bro.
Yeah.
I mean, she's in a prom dress for one thing.
Yep.
That looks like
She
a
looks- she
wrapper
literally
for a
looks 12
Christmas
years old.
present.
How old is she? I'm gonna look.
I think honestly, and it's not just the MCU. I think movies in general need to stop this stupid trope of these little girls tossing around these giant ass men like they're nothing. I'm sorry, even with all the skill in the world, that would not happen.
She's
Well,
29
remember-
years old,
Stack.
Chris.
She's 29.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I
Remember,
bet
like in the
she's very
comics,
popular in Hollywood.
she's a mutant and she has powers.
Yes,
And
and that's
made
the
her a
stupid
mutant.
thing is
Yeah.
that they didn't even give her the power she has in the comic.
Yeah, and it's like there's this weird obsession lately with going like, no, they don't need to have powers to be strong and stuff. It's like they're just strong in and of themselves, guys.
Look
It's like
at
it would
this.
make sense if you go, how are you doing this? And you find out I'm a mutant. The president hired a mutant to protect him because it makes sense that you have to even the playing fields because Isaiah Bradley walked in and like dog walked half of your security detail. And he's
See,
an
that-
old
that-
man who could barely run.
Well, he does have the serum in him, though.
Well, that's
Did you see how he ran with the serum in him? Like that's the thing. He's like an old man, Captain America, and he dog walked your security detail. At some point, you got to go. Yeah, we probably should hire some power people to protect me because, like, what am I going to do otherwise?
This is how they mishandled her because they say that she was a Black Widow, and they only brought that in to explain how she has combat skills, and that's it. But if she
But
was
we
a Black
know
Widow, she's effed up in the head.
She's
And-
a Mossad agent who's like a Jewish superhero, and they changed her for the obvious political reasons. And now she's just a generic Black Widow. But
Right,
not that
exactly.
that would
She's
explain
a
her powers
generic
anymore.
Person with martial arts skills. She's not a Black Widow. She's not Mossad.
Yeah.
And they didn't bring any of that into her character.
Yeah.
There's also the Captain Letitia Taylor, his
Service chick.
Yeah, the Secret Service chick. All she does in the whole movie is stand and look tough. That's her only.
Yes.
That's her only character development. There's nothing we know about her other than her name and the fact that she knows how to use a gun and look tough and guard.
But also, why did they give Sabra a costume?
Yes, and one moment I think they cut a
wears it
scene.
in one
Pointed at.
scene.
They must have cut a scene because on
They did.
the aircraft carrier, she's coming. She has a costume, but we
Yeah.
never see her do anything.
Well, they had to downplay the fact that she was an Israeli Mossad agent.
Yeah.
She was, superpowered. They removed they never once in the whole movie referred to her as being Israeli or having any Israeli heritage at
Yeah.
all. Again,
Yeah.
appeasement of.
Yeah, and didn't
Remember,
they
this
change
was
her
all
name
in
to
play.
sound more Western than Israeli?
Yeah, this was all in play before any October 7th things happened. And so they had to drastically go under reshoots. It was a whole January 6th analogy at first with him being a Trump allegory, and it went under a lot. And so now she's just a generic. And now you wonder why a 4-foot tall, non-superpower chick is doing it. And very telling. That's why it feels stitched together because it's literally stitched together.
How will the box office be second weekend?
Because
Because
it's gonna fall hard.
Based on Mufasa, I think it will do okay.
Yeah, I
also
agree with
no
Alan on that.
competition. Literally, The Cleaner with Daisy Ridley is coming out this weekend, and a horror film called The Monkey, which is hard R rated. There's no competition this weekend at all, so I think it does fairly well second weekend.
I think so.
I mean, yeah.
Because it doesn't, as bad as it is, it's not woke in the sense of it's not preaching. It's not going to roll your eyes. You're just going to hate the fact that it's a bad movie.
It's just a bad film instead of being full of crappy identity politics.
Oh, The Unbreakable
is
Boy
worse.
also opens this weekend.
Yeah. I'd almost rather it be full of identity politics so we can be mad at that instead of it just being a crappy film.
Yeah.
You didn't learn anything. You just proved to us that you also don't want to make movies anymore either. So
yeah. At least the TV show gave us Freckle Jesus and him being police profiled and shit we could make fun of and roast.
And the boat loan.
You gotta
Let's
do
not forget
better,
the boat
Senator.
loan.
yeah.
The boat loan, it's retroactively makes Tony Stark even worse. He didn't set up anything for the Avengers.
See, now that you bring up the TV show, this is what pisses me off even more because now we forget we have John Walker.
Yeah.
Why was he
Thunderbolts.
not incorporated into a fourth Captain America?
Thunderbolts. That's why.
Thunderbolts. That's why.
No, because they wasted him on that stupid show.
Yeah.
That's
Elaine
why.
from Seinfeld showed up at the end of that show and gave him the new job that we're now seeing come to fruition in Thunderbolts *, Dark Avengers, whatever the hell they're calling it.
But my point is they wasted that character on that stupid show. We could have had John Walker for a fourth movie.
Yeah.
It would have been great
Agreed.
to if you want to gain some grace with the audience again and you want people to feel better, you go, yes, this is new. You go with the original plan of New World Order. You have the events of the Falcon Winter Soldier where the government chooses a new Captain America. Sam is chosen by Steve Rogers, and you have a whole thing where Hydra or some other secret organization is infiltrated the government. You could have done so many things with this to remind people of a better era in the MCU and say, this is kind of the reset button. We're trying to show you guys that we care. We want to get back to this feeling of what Captain America was about. None of that happens in this movie. It's awful.
And instead of having an unrealistic Red Hulk, we could have had, if they didn't screw it up already, we could have had the Taskmaster. We could have had so many things in this film. I'm talking about the real Taskmaster, not that bullshit from Black Widow.
Real Taskmaster would have been so
We could have had
good.
the Taskmaster for a villain, and that.
You could have brought Red Skull back, who got freed from the Infinity Stone obligations, is out there somewhere, and
they brought back the real man.
How does this? What's the momentum? What's the momentum like now for Thunderbolts? Does this affect the Thunderbolts at all, or is the Thunderbolts still going to be whatever it is?
There's literally no expectations for that movie. It's Marvel's Suicide Squad, and you know what? It looks fun.
Yeah, the trailer doesn't piss me off.
Does this build on it? Does this get you hyped to see the Thunderbolts? You're thinking about it from a general audience standpoint.
I like Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, so do I.
Oh, he's only going to be in it.
Coming off the best actor nomination for the Academy Awards.
Yeah. Mike, you were going to say something.
Well, I was going to say, I don't have a lot of expectations for Thunderbolts, but I have heard that it's actually good. I've heard that it handles the Sentry well. I've heard that it's really fun. And to be honest, it's the perfect thing to have right after Captain America. You play a stinker, and then you have a fun little comedy / like action film, and people go, "Oh my gosh, that was so much fun! That reminds me of the MCU and what I lost." You know, it's kind of a good cleanup if it actually is good. So
yeah, and if it's good, it's a good lead into Fantastic Four then.
But I think what's even better is that we've got Daredevil Born Again coming.
Yeah.
It starts in 2 weeks, and that series is going to take us up to Thunderbolts. So if Daredevil Born Again is as good as it looks,
we'll see.
I mean, every franchise is one entry away from coming back on top again.
Are you saying that Daredevil leads into Thunderbolts story?
I'm not saying it leads into it story-wise, but what I'm saying is it's also, look, Daredevil was the first time they completely went back to the drawing board after
creative reset.
Total creative reset, which was smart, and they decided to make it a sequel to the 3-season Netflix show, and it looks great. So hope
you kick open the door, you go, "You're all fired," and then walk away. And
Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox alone, I was like, okay. And then Scar Payne saying I was willing to lose the job to bring back Foggy and Karen and make good on the promise of season 3 of their law firm, because they're the heart of it. Just don't mess it up. It's not enough to just be violent, because everyone keeps thinking we just want violence and shit. We don't. We need to have heart and story and dialogue and character. And
let's get.
I don't know. I'm not going to give the MCU an easy pass, man. They're going to have to really.
You shouldn't.
My trust back, man.
It needs to be as good as Daredevil on Netflix. Which, like, if it's not, it's going to get deservedly like shit on. It needs to be, because I mean, but the hope is, if they're willing to go back and reset everything and say, we're not doing any of this, you hope that the focus is really going to be on getting back to what they lost in that Netflix show. So I don't know.
Let's get to soups, and we have other topics. So let's go through this. Badger, if you would.
Tina Guzman, shout out, becoming a member.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
M, member for 22 months. Think I can get a shout out for my page? I guess you just did.
M.
Shout out. Sorry.
There you go.
Lord Comment for 5. New Captain America movie flopped so hard. Without Evans, there is no Cap, in my opinion. This movie was so bad it makes Hand of Manos preferred watching.
Okay, let's not
Manos,
the hands of Manos. Okay, that's a classic.
You're triggering the panel. Red French Moon for a year and 1 month. Shout out 13. Happy Monday, everyone, and happy birthday, Robert.
Thank you.
And verbal
happy birthday.
And
that's awesome.
Little comment for 2. Porn movies had a better plot than this mess.
I wouldn't know.
Matt Tueen, member for 21 months. Much of the dialogue sounded like it was written by AI or with an 8-year-old's IQ. So you are familiar with the writers of Marvel. All the exposition, I felt bad for the actors. It felt like a G.I. Joe plot.
Hey, don't shit on G.I. Joe.
I was going to say, let's not insult G.I. Joe, please.
Right. I mean, especially Larry Hama's Marvel comic G.I. Joes. They were great.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe comic slap. All right, thank you. Major Chai, member for 1 month. A big thank you to the person who gifted me a Film Threat membership. It is much appreciated. I believe it was Brock. Yes. Thank you, that one Voodoo Guy for 10. How does one get to partake in test audiences for movies?
There are people standing outside of the Regal in Pasadena or at the AMC Burbank that will hand you a form. And they ask you a question. Are you in the movie industry? And you always check no.
Always check no. And then you fill out the form. You show up ungodly early, like 3-4 hours early before the screening. And then it's regional. As for Marvel, they don't test their movies. Either does Lucasfilm. They test internally, meaning they get people who work within Marvel to watch it and get their so bad.
Well, so that's just how they do it. So so that's how you kind of have to pay attention. And there are anyone else advice on this one?
There is a company that I can't find the name of it, but I've gone online and I've gotten to test screenings through them. But
NRG, National Research Group,
that might be it.
Used to
like down in Orange County, they do screenings down here sometimes.
Yeah. So I have gone to test screenings of movies. I've
me too. For years.
So I always wear a hat and glasses and like try to not look like myself. And because
the Marvel disguise of just aviators and the baseball cap.
I very careful.
If you're in the industry, they don't want you to go.
Right. Although people in the industry would probably have a lot to say.
Right. I mean, I used to go all the time for like 20 years. I was always going to those screenings, but then it just it was too much. They really started to look, see if they knew you and stuff.
They cracked down.
Yeah. Well, you can thank me for Child's Play. I did the test screening for that one.
Thank you for your service. Destiny Captain for 199. Shout out to the 199. Can we get Vince Gilligan in here to write one?
Well, he's written an upcoming science fiction series that's kind of very secretive. And I can't wait to see I think it debuts in a month or two or something.
Wow. What's it called?
I don't know. It's all under wraps.
Right. Oh, Nerdrotic. Please listen to what Chris said. Lucasfilm and Marvel do not do public test screenings, just in case the scooper tells you they do. Yeah,
they don't. All that Reddit, this is what's going on. Like those are if people do leak to Reddit, because some people within those companies that see those movies, shout out to Nerdrotic.
people saying they saw Superman and stuff like that. Those are very closed screenings.
I'm very suspicious of that. So
Jason Webster for 5. R.I.P. Kim Cyron, the man from nowhere. She was just 24. Fans everywhere will miss you.
Her death was ruled a suicide.
Yeah. Oh
my God, that's horrifying.
Check on your friends. Tell them you love them. Axel's abode member for 6 months. Does Bucky fit in Thunderbolts considering his job? He's a congressman now.
That's what makes no sense. Was he running for Congress or was it Congress?
He was running for Congress.
He was raising money.
Yeah.
Why?
The new Thunderbolts trailer had a lot of him in it.
Yes, and he says the Avengers aren't coming. That's why I have you guys. My Thunderbolts.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, but we'll see.
Funded by USAID.
Yeah. Jeremiah Hembry, member for 10 months. If the Thunderbolts fails to make money, do you think Superman beats Marvel? Yes. I mean,
well, you still got Fantastic Four.
I don't know how you connect those.
Yeah, I don't either.
Separate, but Brock. Oh, yeah, that was Brock earlier. Shout out to Brock gifting 20 Film Threat memberships. Shinoski for 2. They'd save an ungodly amount of money with the script.
I do think when James Gunn said that, that was a diss at Marvel. That was a diss at Marvel. He said, we're not shooting a movie until we have a script. Because I'm sure he saw firsthand how movies had to be retooled because there was no solid script.
This is how you end up going over budget. You end up having to do a bunch of reshoots because you don't have a damn script. You don't have a story, and you're putting it together, making it up as you go. I think it's a stupid way to make a movie.
Well, you don't have
it's done in a lot of cases, but I just think it's dumb.
Do you know how many screenwriters there are in LA, and they can't find one good one? Just one good screenwriter?
Yeah. Just tell a complete story from beginning to end. Tweak it as you go, but a complete story. This movie had no complete story. Stupid.
Darius White for 10. The problem is that neither Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Thor, or Captain America were the driving force in their own movies. Marvel has literally lost the plot.
True.
Psychotic Mongoose gifted 1 Film Threat membership. Naveen for 200. Not being from the US, I could never understand how Marvel could commit a brand suicide of one of the popular media franchises of all time just so they be woke and score some DEI points. Make it make sense.
Not just Marvel. Marvel.
Yeah.
A bunch of them did it. Graph Web for 2. Jive talking Captain America. # cancel Disney Plus. I'm not singing.
He wasn't exactly jive talking, but there was some code switching quite a bit. Yeah.
By the way, I just saw Turkish Captain America this weekend from 1973.
Can you throw up a clip? Look for a clip you can share, Alan.
Okay.
All right, let's keep going here.
Robot Dues for 2. What was the name of the director's first movie?
Yeah, can someone say it?
Yeah.
Anyone?
Is that science fiction movie from?
Is this the 1992 space movie? No,
it was Cloverfield Paradox.
Oh, Cloverfield Paradox.
And by the way, that movie was terrible.
Yeah.
That wasn't it. Is another word.
I'd rather watch the 1992 space movie. Stubble McShave for 20. Still not dealing with the populist reaction to TMS. Yeah, the big ass celestial. What everyone would think of a big.
Well, that was okay. Can I just say, as a pet peeve of mine, they called it Celestial Island in the movie, which means they knew it was a celestial.
Right.
How
Yeah.
would the government and one celestial appeared in the skies over Earth saying, I'm going to come back and judge your populace. You're dealing with the population where half of it already was dusted for 5 years by another cosmic entity.
Yep.
And now you have a celestial emerging from the Earth and another celestial saying, I'm going to come back to your planet and judge y'all. And they know they called it Celestial Island. No one mentions, other than using the name Celestial Island, no one talks about the fact that these people want to destroy our planet, and we're going to go mine adamantium from somebody froze their celestial coming out of the Earth. Like, nobody ever mentions anything about
That's why they're
celestials
doing it.
at all. And I was sitting there waiting, going, you call it Celestial Island, so someone must have told you what it was, because the Celestials didn't. And I'm like, are you not concerned about this?
This movie was written by morons.
Did not the geologist go underwater and find out that if this thing was emerging from the middle of the Earth, if it kept coming, it would have cracked the planet in half? I mean, nobody seems to we're worried about adamantium. I think you should be more worried about the Celestials. I don't know. Call me crazy.
But there should also just be major geological problems because this thing is sticking out of the Earth.
And the ocean would have filled
How
the
did no
void.
one feel it when it came out and when it was?
How about the tsunami created when the thing comes out of the water?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so frustrating. Anybody I've read a lot of science fiction in my life. I've read a lot of political thrillers in my life. And anybody who is worth their salt as a writer would sit down and go, okay, what is the geopolitical situation here resulting in this celestial coming out of the water? Like,
see, that's your problem.
Let's get a whiteboard out and spend after lunch. Let's take a few hours and let's just jot a few ideas down.
That's your problem. You're thinking too logically about this, okay?
No, I'm thinking how any writer should think.
Watching movies? No, you just go sit in a room with your friends and make stuff up, and then the people have to watch it.
I'll tell you, it would have killed the other half of the planet.
Yeah.
Hashtag Madam Web was better.
Hashtag Madam Web was better. Lord comment for 5. Sam is basically Mega Man. He takes weapons and gear from other people and he still fails. Yes, I've seen detergents that leave a better film than this.
Damn.
Day Tripper for 50. People who wrote her character are the same kind of people who support men and women's sports. How about Sabra? Yeah. Lord Thoth, member for 28 months. Jesus. This is the best panel on YouTube. Hail.
Thank you, Lord Thoth. Appreciate you.
Torgo the White for 2. Manos, somebody mentioned me?
Oh, God.
Matt Murphy, member for 25 months. They ruined Ross just like they did Fury. Authors of the Sokovia Accords only to turn around and use the leader as his own personal pharmacist. Stitch, member for 17 months. Time flies when you're giving Chris and Alan some change every month. Yeah.
Thank you.
Naveen for 400 this time. I watch Hollywood for American films and culture. If I want to see myself, I'd watch Indian films for that. Same with Asian culture. I'd watch the Korean, Japanese, or Hong Kong films. I don't want forced diversity in Hollywood films. We don't need
Amen.
Yep.
Super Vash for 20. I loved Robert Meyer Burnett's show last night explaining how to properly write a script for a movie.
That was a great stream, Rob. That was awesome.
REG, member for 1 month. Disney must have got USAID DEI money in the billions.
Yeah. Do you think that USAID we will discover? I mean, already it's been suggested gaming has been affected. Do you think films will be affected?
1,000,000%.
I don't know if it was
for the past
you
60 years.
I don't know if it's you that told me the story, Rob, that Bryan Singer after 9/11 was brought together with a lot of Hollywood people to ask creatively how first of all how the hijackers took over the planes and asked them to use their creative mind for what other scenarios could you envision.
Well, and look, I mean the master of that was Tom Clancy.
Yes.
Yes. And he actually, people forget about this, but he wrote one of his Jack Ryan novels, the Jack Ryan novel that came right before Executive Orders. There was actually another war with Japan. It was basically a trade war, and Japanese terrorists at the end of this novel fly a jetliner into the Capitol while the president is addressing Congress.
Wasn't it inauguration or
no? It was not the inauguration, and I think that happened in Designated Survivor. The same thing happened when they blew up. But so then Jack Ryan was the highest ranking member of the government left, so he becomes president in executive orders. So that's the thing. All these scenarios, there's really interesting. There's a movie, actually, a TV series
Vietnam,
that starts,
by the way, Operation Northridge. The flying a radio controlled plane into to create like it's a tactic.
Yeah, there's a new political thriller that stars Robert De Niro dropping on, is it Netflix, called Zero Day this week?
Yeah,
this week, that looks pretty good, about a cyber attack, and he plays a former president brought in to deal with it. Sure, that's better than.
Let's get this last super chat, and we've got a couple more topics here. Let's go.
Jason Webster for 5. Marvel needs to return to self-contained films with smaller budgets, not connected to previous films or series in the interim. Yeah, no grandiose operas. Don't give us homework.
It is a burdensome to like 2000. You have to have seen the 2008 Hulk. You have to have seen the entire Falcon and Winter Soldier series. I mean, it's
Eternals.
A burden. It's become a burden. Alan, before we go, can you show that Turkish Captain America?
Yeah. So someone made a trailer out of it, so they're using the Spider-Man music. So I don't know if you want me to mute the music or not.
Just watch a little here.
Okay. There you go. Turkish Spider-Man.
Yeah, I like the Turkish
rich couple while they're having a shower together.
Yeah, let's
here,
oh my god, these
here we go, Captain America. Look at that.
Here we go. Now we're talking. Well, there you are, Alan. That was great.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I can just throw a double-fisted punch hanging upside down. That's amazing.
Let's talk about this. I'm not trying. I know it's R&B's birthday. I don't want to trigger him, but what the hell is this? Can someone explain this to me?
It's clearly Star Trek.
Well, I was told that these are crew jackets that they gave to the actors after they wrapped season 1. But still, these are actors in season 1 of Starfleet Academy.
Thanks.
Is one of the actors like mentally disabled?
Don't say it. No.
Am I wrong, or am I reading too much?
Extra chromosome? Just asking for a friend.
Yeah.
And remember, this takes place 1,000 years in the future. So it takes place in Discovery's future when they're trying to build the universe. So humanity is going to go back to school and look just like
this takes place
today.
Then in like the Andromeda ripoff of Star Trek Rebuilding.
Yes.
Oh my god!
And do all the men die in the future, and only women are left?
Look, I mean, I think this is the ultimate example. Everybody wants to be writing Buffy and Angel, so now they've got. It's really interesting to me that if you were going to make a Starfleet Academy show, there was a movie that people forget about and a TV series called The Paper Chase about John Houseman plays one of the great Professor Kingsfield. Just look up John Houseman as Professor Kingsfield. He plays a Harvard law professor, and the Paper Chase is all about these students in college trying to deal with this professor, and he's this incredible character. If you had a Star Trek show, I would think you'd want to go more in that direction, or the TV series that was made out of Alan Parker's fame, or Dead Poets Society, or Friday Night Lights, or look at some of the great shows about higher learning that have ever been made. Mm-hmm. Instead, we're not going to get that. They're going to turn Star Trek into 90210 in space, or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
And it's so sad because, again, they don't understand the genre. Star Trek is its own genre. Just like the MCU is its own genre. Just like Star Wars is its own genre, a subgenre, sci-fi or fantasy, call it what you want. But unless you are well-versed in the genre that you're working in, the problem is they're thinking they're going to go work in the high school drama genre as opposed to Star Trek. Because they don't know science fiction.
This looks like the writer's room. And Paper Chase, I remember Paper Chase. That was a great show, Rob.
Great show.
It was an amazing show. Like, I felt smarter watching the show.
Exactly.
You learned about law. And think of the conversations. You've got grizzled old professors who've been in space talking to these students, basically talking to them about galactic politics or dealing
first
with
contact
alien-
situations that have gone horribly wrong. Why do the non-interference the prime directive exist?
Right.
I thought they were going more Harry Potter as
Right.
far as like teacher-student interaction.
It
They're
looks
gonna
like
do that
Harry
too.
Potter. It looks
Yeah.
like that looks like the writer's room, not the actors. These are the actors they hired. This is
everything is inspired by some other thing, and like
Septum
Rob
piercing.
said, it's like Star Trek is its own thing, and it always has been. Like, and for somebody to step in and go, yeah, I love Harry Potter. What if we made Star Trek like Harry Potter? Like, you're already failing because it's not the same thing. They're different genres. But most of these people, like, they've never watched Star Trek. They don't know anything about it. They don't know anything about science fiction or science for that matter. And so it's just co-opting an IP, hoping they can insert the things that they like into the IP.
That's exactly right.
Just like J.J. Abrams. Well, I was never really a fan of Star Trek. I liked Star Wars more. So I thought, what if I made Star Trek like Star Wars? And I'm like, yeah, but they're different genres of film. You know, like it's just a mess, man. It's embarrassing.
I like the adult cast here. It's Tig Notaro, Richard Picardo.
Are you joking?
Becky Lynch and
Tig Notaro?
Yeah, because everyone liked her funny take on the engineer.
Because she's
in Discovery.
Oh God. All right, pivoting. I want to show you just a really interesting tweet that someone said sent out that why do streaming movies suck? Well, someone has, I think, a very good take. A guy I didn't follow up until now, Sean Burns. I don't know him. Sean M. Burns. 90% of running a streaming service seems to be saying, hey, remember that movie you liked in the 80s or 90s? Now, what if it was photographed like shit and 9 hours long?
So he saw Roadhouse too.
Right. And he's quote tweeting Amy Adams is going to star opposite Javier Bardem in the Apple series Cape Fear.
Oh.
So I think streaming has diluted cinema. I think no one would doubt that, but it's really just made so many things less special. What are your thoughts on his take?
Well, we saw Alan Pakula, who, by the way, is one of the great thriller directors. He directed The Parallax View, which is one of the great. Yeah. He directed Clute, some of the great political thrillers of the 70s. He also directed Presumed Innocent in 1990, which was turned by David Kelly into an 8-episode TV series starring Jake Gyllenhaal. It worked as a great 2-hour film. It was based on a novel by Scott Turow, of course. It has a great cast, and it was produced by Sidney Pollack. It has a score by John Williams, and then they just turned it into an 8-episode streaming series. Yeah. Look at the difference.
Look, I'm more of a movie guy. When I see like it's a series, I see a trailer and it's a series, I kind of bug out on it. Although I am in the middle of watching The Offer. I can't believe I missed it.
Oh,
that
it's great.
show it's amazing. I'm all in.
How great is Matthew Good playing Bob Evans?
Oh my God, he's so good.
How was he not nominated or win an Emmy?
He is fantastic in that series, but
he's a white male, right?
Yeah, exactly. But this just brings up a point. Like these, like it's really just a lot of things are just very mid. So yeah. All right.
Well, the fact that it's an adaptation.
Any other thoughts?
Yeah, because it's an adaptation, it is now again creatively bankrupt streaming services.
Yeah,
they're no longer willing to. They won't invest in anything original. They have to invest in adaptations and sequels.
Yeah, well, the goal is how can we keep getting people to come back, every month and say resubscribed every month. So we have to pump out as much content as possible. And like Alan, you can't take. You don't want to take risks. If you take risks, you're failing. And so everything has to be inspired by something. And you occasionally will get like really good things, like you'll get something like Stranger Things, but once again, Stranger Things is inspired by things that we all grew up watching, like Ghostbusters. Like I'm teaching my kids. I'm like, guys, this is all inspired by things like the Goonies and Ghostbusters, and they're like, oh, I didn't know that, and so they're learning. Oh, this reminds me of Stranger Things, and I'm like, no, Stranger Things is inspired by this thing,
Right.
you know. But like,
around.
but then you also get things like Daredevil, where you actually get like a solid show, a well-written show. There are well-written stuff on streaming, but most of the time it's just about how can we make a thing that reminds you of a thing so you come back every month to watch it. And then in between that, there's just sparks of brilliance, but it's like broken clock, you know, can be right twice a day. It's like, it just depends on who's involved in the project. And we've definitely seen a mass of just trash and garbage thrown out there because it's quantity over quality for most of these streaming services.
Well, you got to feed the machine, right? I mean, this is why this is the reason why movies are only staying in theaters for only like a month, right? Because they got to get it to streaming because they're running out of material. They're running out of, you know, a reason to subscribe to their streaming service. So you got to feed the machine, man. And this is exactly what they're doing. This isn't going to get people to sign up for Netflix or any other streaming service, but at least they have something. At least it's material.
Who is the target audience of Cape Fear, the TV series?
There isn't.
Exactly.
No, there isn't.
Right.
That's the point, though. I mean, it's but they need something.
The hope is you'll go, oh, that looks interesting, and then forget to cancel your subscription.
Yes,
like
that's the whole point.
And that's the whole point, unfortunately, because there are some flagship shows that they're like, hey, this is going to make people sign up and watch our stuff. But also, the more streaming services that exist, the more the content spreads out. So then you go, yeah, I'll watch this show on here for a month, or I'll wait until this whole show has been aired on this streaming service, and I'll binge it all in a month and then cancel my subscription service. And the reality is, it's just too many fingers in the pie, and you can't keep up with all of it. You'd be paying more for cable than you would to try to watch all of these things at one time.
Already paying more. Apple Plus, Max, Netflix, Hulu, Paramount Plus. Yeah. I know.
At least you get
free
shipping with Prime.
Yeah.
Hey,
but it's all for the purpose of you forgetting to cancel your subscription, right? If they can get just one more month out of you, that meets a goal.
Yep. All right. Switching topics to this. Not sure if you guys saw this on Rotten Tomatoes, and it is February, the shortest
oh joy.
It's the 153 best black movies of the 21st century. So there we go. I don't know what you think about all these. I'll scroll down and put the link in the private chat if you
well let's see the top 10.
I'll show you
I will feel cheated. I will feel cheated if The Jerk is not at in the top 10.
Well, a movie that I don't think anyone here but I saw, Nickel Boys.
Nickel Boys.
Alan saw it. Did anyone see Nickel Boys?
Nope.
But people love it.
Okay. Unstoppable. I also saw that. It's on Amazon. Rob Peace.
These all came out this year or last year.
What are these movies?
They all came out last year. I mean,
I will say Chiwetel Ejiofor is amazing as an actor, but
I like him. I do like him.
Yeah.
The Piano Lesson at number
I have
4.
never heard of any of these black movies.
Never.
Do better.
Have I seen more black movies than you guys?
Chris, you have seen more black movies than I have, apparently.
These are all the 21st century, right? 21st. So it's only in the last 25 years. So nothing.
It's not enough to be black, Conte. You need to be culturally black, like Chris. You need to watch all of these things to support someone.
Exhibiting Forgiveness.
No, they came out this last month. Yeah.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I think everyone here saw that one.
Yeah, but the movie wasn't good.
Did anyone see The Color Purple?
Yes, I did. No, and hell no.
But this is the musical.
I saw the original Color Purple.
Number 8 one, not this one.
Number 8.
Wait, Creed 3 is number 9, but Creed 1 isn't?
Right.
That's
and
wild.
these are like the rankings that doesn't make sense because like Creed 3, 89%. Okay, whatever. But American Fiction, 93% is number 10. They're not even ranking them by their Rotten Tomatoes score.
This is crazy.
You know why they picked Creed 3, right? Because Rocky wasn't in that one.
Yeah.
Also, Spider-Man Across the Universe. Spider-Verse.
2 black people in it, so that's how you know
exactly,
they're doing well.
Mike. Exactly. You got to pick that
2
one.
black guys boxing each other. Like, that's
the
what we
math
want.
outweighs the black on black violence. That's right. We should promote that.
Rustin. Anyone see Rustin?
Huh?
No, but please tell me the American Society of Magical Negroes is on this list.
Oh, I'll find it. I'll go down.
It's got to be in there. It's only 153 of them.
Yeah, there's only
That
100.
angry black girl in her
Oh, they
monster.
clone Tyrone definitely deserves to be there. Though.
Yeah,
Come
yo,
on.
that's a good movie.
that
I
was
have not
good.
seen that one yet, but I heard it was good.
What about Alan? You saw the angry black girl and her monster.
Oh my gosh. The
What?
short film was better.
Porn movie.
Yeah.
Sounds okay. Sing Sing is very good.
It's very good.
Oh, the blackening. Oh, you got to.
The blackening was fun.
love
That
the
was
blackening.
fun.
I haven't seen the Black
Oh
one yet
my
either.
God.
Wait, Wakanda
Black
Forever is above
Nah.
Black Panther?
Oh, come
No
on,
way.
bruh.
Yeah.
This is crazy. All right,
That's
Till,
wild.
I
What
honestly
is this
trust-
list?
I trust the bottom of the list more than I do the top of the
what
list.
am I? How are these? Wait, there's 153. Why such a random number? I don't get it.
Summer of Soul's great.
Because they put
I mean-
every black movie they could find on this list.
Where's
Yeah,
Friday
yeah,
if we were already at
Candyman.
Candyman?
Candyman? Oh no.
King Richard.
I have the link in there if you guys want to look on a set.
Wait. Go back. Miss Juneteenth. Miss Juneteenth is a movie.
Which
Yeah.
is 99%. You never
Yeah,
heard
I
it?
saw it at Sundance. It's
99%, Dante. It must be dope.
This list is making me feel racist that I haven't
I-
watched any
Miami's
of these
good.
films.
Yeah.
man.
I'm offended by
Yeah.
this list.
How is it that I've seen more of these films than
I've seen more of these. I saw One
What?
Night in Miami.
It's really good.
Yeah, I like that one. That was exceptionally good.
Yeah, that was a very good movie, actually.
And Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is good too.
I heard that was good as well. I haven't seen it yet.
And the movie.
Where's Green Book? Can we find out?
Oh my God! Yeah,
I'm
Green Book. I
looking for
actively
it.
watched that
Soul
movie.
was
All
good.
it's a very good.
Soul
movie.
is good.
I like
Yeah.
Green Book. I don't know why people.
Yeah.
Well,
The Five Bloods. What?
I like that.
Miss
Oh,
Juneteenth.
yeah,
I got a lot of-
I'm really.
That's a very independent. Film.
I am being
Bad
shamed as a
Boys.
black man on this panel.
Right,
because,
man.
like,
I'm feeling like I'm about to
all the
lose my
white guys
black
have been like,
card
yeah, I
right
watched
now.
that.
Dolomite
that
is
was a
my
good
name.
one.
Dolomite is good. Dolomite is
That's
good.
great.
Dolomite's great.
Dolomite's
That
good.
movie-
One.
Oh,
Where's
man.
Pootie Tang? Is Pootie Tang going to be on here? What are we doing?
Pootie
Yeah.
Tang on this list.
That's not the 21st century. I don't think.
Blank Man, I hope. Yeah. Oh yeah. Goddamn.
Yeah.
The good ones.
Really
are
missing
past.
out.
Last Black Man in San Francisco is good.
I saw
Surprised
that
they haven't
film.
put like The Harder They Fall higher on the list. But
I also saw Clemency.
This documentary is really good too.
God, this list is
This
incredibly
is wild,
random.
man.
This is weird.
Yeah.
I think they
Well,
just
just
want
proves
to.
that it just proves that Chris
Yeah.
and I are the most black people here.
Yeah,
Right, man.
Alan and I
Y'all
are the
invited-
most
the
black.
Spider Verse lower
Y'all
than
invited
the
to the
second?
cookout, and we are disinvited from the cookout.
I know. Right? Alan is blackety black.
Chris
man.
make my plate.
Here's the thing: we know where the cookout is because we're
Oh,
not
there's
spending a lot of
Black
time
Panther,
watching these
72.
movies.
Damn.
Black
Black
Panther
Klansman. I
72.
thought was great. Black Klansman.
Black Klansman was
Yeah.
amazing.
It
Yeah.
was great.
That was amazing. Spike Lee was really.
That was
great.
good.
Yeah.
Somebody said no love for Soul Plane. That's crazy.
Soul Plane was awesome.
He's just Soul Plane.
Widow
I-
is awesome.
Starting to Bother You, I really like a lot too.
I didn't like that.
Such a
one at all.
weird movie.
That was a weird movie, man. That
Yeah,
was
it
a
is super weird.
movie.
The horse.
I like
people.
Widows better than it. Let's put it that way.
I
Yeah.
like Widows.
Yeah.
This list is super.
Whitney?
random.
Nah.
I think they're just listing black movies, but with
At
They
no-
literally just typed in black movies before a date, and then they just typed them all out on the list.
right.
Yeah.
Fast Color. If you haven't seen Fast Color, it's a
I haven't.
superhero film.
Yeah,
It's
I
really
took my
good.
daughter to see it, and she loved it. She
It's
was
really
only
good.
like she was
Oh,
like
okay.
9 at the time when I saw it.
Oh wow, I have not seen that one. Okay,
It's
that's
good.
Get Out,
Get Out.
is
Wow, that's
phenomenal.
low.
Why is
Yeah.
that not in the
That
top
should have been
10?
way higher on that list.
That
Yeah.
should be in the top 10 at least. Yeah, these
Yeah,
are
these are just randomly. There's no order to this. This is just at random.
the order is random. What about Girls Trip?
Nah.
Huh?
Nah.
Oh
No, thank
my
you.
god.
Or OJ. Oh no, we're not.
Right. Yeah, this is
Yeah, OJ, Made in America.
It's really weird because Detroit was directed by Catherine Bigelow.
yeah.
So how are they defining? And Moonlight's at 96 and it won Best Picture.
Yeah, one Best
That's
Picture
crazy.
beat out La La Land. The 13th, the
I like
documentary.
13th. It's a
on
great
Netflix.
documentary.
Hidden Figures.
I loved Hidden Figures. Great
like
movie.
That was a good one.
This Fences was good too. Denzel directed it.
was good.
Yes, I saw that
I
as
enjoyed
well.
that. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Barbershop, the next cut.
Right.
That's wild.
How does
Loving
that
was
beat
good.
Barbershop?
Loving
Oh.
was really good. I really liked that.
Guilty pleasure. I loved Keanu.
Keanu was great.
It was.
The movie's so
It
bad,
was
but,
it
like,
was
it's so funny.
super fun.
Tangerine, Tangerine's great too, and it's Sean
Tangerine.
Baker's first film.
That's right. First
Miss
feature.
Creed.
Oh, there it is.
Creed. Why is it so
Finally.
low?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Because critics had integrity back then.
Yeah.
Go.
Now a lot of these I haven't heard of. Well, no, here we go. Straight out of
Straight out of
Compton.
Compton.
I like
There you
it.
go.
Dope is great.
I like Dope.
I haven't seen
Dope
it.
is
This
dope.
is this is crazy, bro. Like Rob
the
has seen
porn
so
one?
many more black films than I have.
Yeah. Epic.
Because you know what? Because I just think of them as films.
Well, yeah,
That's true.
maybe I was just living
Movies.
it. I don't know.
He doesn't see color.
Yeah. He's like, I just
So
watch
much-
movies.
so
Man.
much- Oh, here we go. Dear White People. There we go.
So I've seen them.
I got to tell you, top 5 has one of the greatest ending. Is it who's in jail? Is it DMX who's in jail at the end of that movie? It's so funny. Who was at the end of? I don't know if you guys have seen top 5. You should see it.
have
a
not.
long time
I've seen
ago.
it. Well, this is your reminder of catch up and see some of these movies you have not seen.
Yeah, we'll do better. I'm sorry. I'll watch more.
Get some culture in y'all. Come on.
I know. Come on,
Yeah, I
black
gotta
people.
do that.
Watch your
Come on,
movies.
black people, step it up.
Watch your movies.
My
So
bad.
Bill Station, that's like an indie classic at this point.
Yeah.
The meaning of life. Yeah.
So there you go.
42. Yeah.
We're almost. Let's see what's at the Django Unchained. Why
What?
rated so low?
Hey,
Why
My
is it so
favorite
low on the
Tarantino.
list?
My favorite.
way
Tarantino.
too low.
That movie's
Wow.
fun. So
Fun. Yeah.
well, I mean,
fun.
Jamie Foxx is so great.
So fun when
Yeah.
the dogs are.
Oh,
Yeah. Just a fun movie for
It's
the whole
just a
family.
fun little movie, just
Yeah.
a little outing with your
A lot
friends
of
and
movies-
family.
It is
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
I know what he meant, but
It's a
Yeah.
Tarantino film.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
makes violence so fun. So
Precious.
Precious,
And the Frog.
Precious,
That's
Princess
crazy, bro.
and the
Can't
Frog.
wait to go to Splash
Black
Mountain.
Dynamite's so good.
Black Dynamite
like-
is amazing.
That's one of my
American
favorite
Gangster's
lists of
good.
movies on this list. American Gangster's really good.
Yeah.
Gangster.
We're getting to the bottom. We're getting Inside Man.
Inside Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Inside Man. I like Tequila and the Bee a lot, actually.
Yep.
Like I really like that
Killer
movie.
Bee, Dream Girls. Yeah,
Dream
that
Girls
was
is
a good
pretty
one.
good.
Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle's Block Party.
I mean, this is a good reminder of like a lot of movies you haven't seen that might be worthwhile.
Yeah.
Hustle
Hustle
and
and
Flow.
Flow.
Hustle and Flow was solid.
Hustle and
Solid
Flow.
movie.
So good.
Ray,
Ray,
solid.
is that low?
Bro.
I know.
I
I know.
mean,
Yeah.
I don't think-
I'm not looking at the order anymore because these are out of
Yeah,
order.
they make no sense.
Oh,
It doesn't make sense.
Standing in the Shadows of Motown is awesome. Like as a fan of Motown, it's great.
How
It's
could
about all the-
Barbershop be at the end of this list?
I know.
Right, right.
I know.
That's crazy.
Drumline.
Drumline?
Line. Oh man, that goes on.
Good movie, but
Antoine Fisher has a 77. Nowadays it would be like
Monsters.
100%. That's
I know.
crazy.
Yeah.
Again,
And
critics had
Monsters Ball,
integrity.
did
back
that
then.
go that low?
Yeah.
Yeah, this just shows you these
Love
lists
and
are meant to
basketball.
get people to argue.
Where's Green
Oh,
Book?
Ghost Dog.
Ghost was dog.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Red Samurai.
Oh, wow.
That shit
That's a
holds
great
up.
one.
That
That's
is
a
a
good one.
fun movie, man.
Oh, I
Sure.
love that movie.
What a crazy list, bro.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, this list makes no sense. Like as far as the order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the order
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
By the way, when I was a kid, I loved this movie, and I never thought like, oh, look at this black guy. But like, I was like 13, 14. Didn't even come into my head. Just thought he was a badass assassin with like the way of the samurai.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
something that while we were dealing with other stuff, this Damien Leone, the director of the Terrifier series, put out a tweet which I want to share with you guys. I have it here, just about politics, and we've interviewed Damien on this show. He's whatever you think of the Terrifier movies, they're not for everybody. They are very violent, very gory films, but I love those. They're also great sense of humor. He created the character Art the Clown along with the actor, and I'm glad he said this. I'm a Badger. I don't know if you can read
Yeah,
this.
I can see it.
He put out a statement I think is worth discussing.
I want to make a very important statement regarding the Terrifier franchise in this ugly political climate we're living in. As most of you know, some of my cast and crew members have a very passionate political presence on social media with extreme and sometimes harsh opinions, which is their right. I'm all for freedom of speech and expression. That being said, Terrifier is not in any way, shape, or form a political franchise. I did not get into filmmaking to become a politician or promote any political agendas or ideologies, especially through a killer clown movie. I fell in love with horror movies as a form of pure entertainment, and those are the films I like to make. Since Terrifier 1, our cast and crew has and still consists of both Republicans and Democrats, and anyone is welcome to be a part of it regardless of their political affiliations, as long as they're a decent human being. That goes for our fan base as well. If this doesn't sit well with any fans or cast and crew members, that is your right, and I respect it. You don't have to buy a ticket, and you don't have to work on these films. Thank you, and I recommend you don't let toxic rhetoric on either side of the political spectrum deter you from being a Terrifier fan.
And he is in a veiled way referring to the lead actor of the Terrifier series, David Howard Thornton, who plays Art the Clown, who is fantastic in that role. He's been a bit outspoken, politically speaking, which I think is his right. At the same time, might put some people off. What do you think about this statement and what he's saying here?
I think he's right. I mean, look, not everybody is as political as, some of us might be. You know what I mean? This guy probably just wants to make movies, man. Like, you know what? I feel like politics has hurt the arts so much just because of the fact that it's you can't be objective anymore. Like, you can't just like put your politics aside and enjoy something. Now everything is through the lens of, who's in office and who's not in office and what bill is being passed. I feel for this guy, man. I feel for a lot of guys like this in Hollywood, man, who just want to go in there and make their movies and enjoy it and focus on their next film or their next, TV show or their next, album or whatever. They don't want to get involved in this stuff, man. So I'm completely behind him on this.
Yeah, it's a perfectly reasonable statement. There's nothing problematic with it at all. I already know because I actually did a video about this. This guy's taking all kinds of heat from the horror community because some horror fans seem to believe that all horror is political. And so he's making political statements right here by trying to say, hey, listen, I got into horror just as pure entertainment. I love it just for the entertainment value, and that's it. I don't want it to become political, but then people are, chastising them online, and so that's why he's had to put out this statement, is because he's catching a lot of hell from folks in the horror community because he wants Terrifier to be apolitical. Just come here and enjoy a killer clown, laugh, have a good time. That's it, and he's catching a lot of heat for that. So it's kind of bad. I don't like it.
And having interviewed him on one of our live streams, this was when Terrifier 2 came out. And having met him and spoken to him, our conversation was actually about all the bootleg Terrifier merch. He doesn't care. He's doing very well on the official merch. There's bootleg stuff out there that are fan made. He doesn't care. He did not strike me as being like overly political at all, but he loves his cast. So if the lead actor is, very outspoken, well, that's it, it's going to just reflect on the actor. He's trying to distance himself in a way.
What if Disney did this for Zegler? Like when she just said all that dumb shit, if they had just been like, hey, she has political freedom. We don't avow it. Just see the movie. Would that work?
Yeah. So I don't know.
I have to go back and apologize to somebody else for that.
It's sad this needs to be said, but I really think that his attitude
But actually, Badger, just to go back to what you just said, the problem is we know Disney's behind this shit. We know that they back this. That's the difference, right? Yeah. Like, because if they were to say something like that, it would be so disingenuous because we know they're full of shit. But this guy, I believe him. I believe that he's just a guy who just wants to make movies.
Well, especially because you watch the movie.
Yeah, you've seen the
What's
Terrifier
political
movies.
about that? Yeah, like that movie is the last thing I think about with Terrifier is politics. You know, it's just it's ridiculous.
Right, but if I assign a political party to his victims, it just makes the death less threatening.
Well, Freddy Krueger was a known conservative. We all know that.
But I also
Yeah.
look, I think there is a deeply our political it has been deep. We've been deeply infantilized by our own pop culture because look, I go back. If Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, which is one of the great American movies of the latter half of the 20th century, if that movie is incredibly political, incredibly political, which is why it's great. And now people would scream and yell. There's that great scene in that movie with a camera zooming into all these different characters and they're screaming racial epithets at one another, showing that each group hates every other group. It is a great scene, and it makes you understand how ridiculous racism really is. And movies have always been politically charged. Great stories are all about politics. I mean, the first issue of Captain America had him punching Hitler. Yeah. And it's like, when do we become so triggered that we can't, in a mature society, understand that we have varying different political ideas and we should be able to discuss them? And where is the best place to discuss them? In art, in storytelling. It doesn't mean you have to sit there and accept what's being told to you. It opens a discussion.
Democrat and Republican wasn't the same thing.
We have become, we're children. We are so immature. It's so frustrating to watch and to see. It's like, give me a break.
Well, and the unfortunate part has just been that I think for a lot of younger writers, we've seen the goal is not, I'm going to write a story from my, and my perspective will influence the way I write my characters and the way I write my stories. It's, I have to make sure that the audience understands my position when it comes to my ideologies and my political stances, and I cannot allow there to be any interpretation other than what I'm saying. And like a really egregious example of that is like the showrunner for The Boys. He's told people multiple times, guys, Homelander is making fun of you. It's making fun of Trump. It's we're not making fun of both sides.
Stop
we are making fun of, they're like, please understand where we're coming from, or we have to write this even more ridiculous and get even more out there with the writing, because there's this attitude of like, if I am misunderstood or if I accidentally support the wrong ideology, I failed as a creative. And it's like, no, the movies are supposed to be, stories are supposed to be interpreted by the audience. They're supposed to watch this and walk away with different opinions and thoughts and ideas and stuff. And one of the things that we ran into, like me and Josiah, when we started making movies, is we met a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life. You know what? Some of those people use pronouns that people don't like to use. Some of those people asked if they could wear masks on set. All we asked of anybody that worked with us is understand we are not political when we're making movies. We're just wanting to make movies. That's all that matters to us. If we don't agree on things, it's fine. I'm not asking you to agree with my politics, but understand where I'm coming from is that we just want to make good films. And if we're all in agreement on that, we can all work together to make something. And every single person said yes. We have not had a single person walk away going, I can't work with you guys because you guys don't agree with my politics, or I can't agree with you guys because of the political landscape.
Well, I'll just say this. Could Josiah do a video on me that I've left Hollywood because I'm in Pasadena? So I'm not. Same thing with
I'll
Alan.
reach him out right now. Yeah, he'll
Please
do
never
it.
leave.
Tell him to a video. I've left Hollywood.
He's gonna be like, Chris Gore has left Hollywood. Listen, it's better that than like you go on a hike and disappear and he makes a video about it then, because boy, oh boy, I couldn't. Another actor has left Hollywood.
One last topic for today. Deadpool creator Rob Liefeld cuts ties with Marvel. We're a little late on this, but I want to get your
Didn't he cut ties in the 90s?
When he founded Image.
Oh, good this time.
He doesn't mean Marvel Comics. He means MCU, Kevin Feige, because they screwed him over, like as they're apt to do.
Or cut ties for next time.
With From Variety, this is the story. he's basically cuts ties with the Marvel, the Marvel Studios, right? And over premiere issues, he was somehow disrespected at the premiere. Badger, if you would, I'll blow it up a little bit.
I see it. Deadpool co-creator Rob Liefeld has declared he has cut ties in all ways, with Marvel after he and his family were invited to Disney's after party for weren't invited to last year's. Basically, he wasn't invited. He didn't get any of the. I was hearing him talk about it. He didn't get any handshake, any photo opportunities. You can see here, Liefeld has other gripes with Marvel involving the placement of creator credits in the film and what he perceives as a lack of respect from the film and television studio chief Kevin Feige. Liefeld attended the screening at Manhattan's Lincoln Center and says he posed on the red carpet with the Deadpool and Wolverine creative team, but alleges the photos were deleted before they were posted anywhere. It was meant to embarrass, diminish, and defeat me, he said of his experience at the New York City premiere on the latest episode of his Robservations podcast.
Hey.
Who was first?
Well,
Confused me
I'll
when I
tell
first read
you,
this.
my podcast was first, but he used to write a column in Wizard magazine called Robservations, which I totally forgot about when I named my show.
Lawsuit pending. We'll see. We'll talk about it. He added that his reps tried to get the Liefeld family into the party, but they were ultimately turned away by the studio's publicity team. Disney is the deciding factor here. To have them say, you and your family are not welcome here. We tolerated you for the screening. At that point, I knew in my heart I couldn't go forward.
That is ridiculous. And I'll say why. These 22-year-old low-level publicists that are guarding the door, seeing if you're on the list. And I guarantee other people could walk up who are, quote, internet famous or TikTok influencers or whatever and walk in that party. And the fact that Rob Liefeld was turned away, there's nothing that other than like the fire marshal saying no one can be allowed in. They should have let him in. This is BS, and he is right to be pissed off. He deserves an apology. What's that, Alan?
It was a small ask. He's not asking for $1 million.
After party.
Literally,
the dude who created Deadpool.
Go to the after party, get posed. Like, and the fact that those photos were deleted, I mean, is kind of like, well, I mean, the fact that we hear story after story, this isn't just about Rob. This is about the way movie studios treat the creators, the original creators of the comics. Get no respect. Many of them dying penniless. It's unconscionable. It makes me sick to my stomach that here Marvel Studios built on the backs of these creators that can't even let him in the party, and these morons. It makes me look, I'm never.
He should be like, they should have the red carpet rolled out for this guy. This guy should be the first person they announce saying, hey, this is the guy that created the thing you're literally coming to watch. He created this character. Rob Liefeld, ladies and gentlemen. And before we get to anything else, that's how they should be treating all of these creatives, and they don't do it. It's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, look, I'm tired of reading story after story of a comic creator disrespected or just like they're just, it bothers me. And when you look at how much money have the Deadpool movies made collectively, $2 billion
more than that. They've made with
billion?
this almost $3 billion.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe, I don't know what Rob's deal is, Rob Liefeld's deal, whatever. Maybe he does profit well, but this is thickening, and really someone has to say that this has to end. The comic creators should be celebrated. You know what I miss? I miss the beginning of every Marvel movie used to start with flipping the pages of comics, and you would see the comic art. I would get a chill every time I saw that logo with the art, because as a kid, in my mind's eye, I could have never imagined that these things, these comic books that I bought off a rack for 25 cents would be a movie in the theater. And the fact that they don't honor the artwork anymore, even.
Chris, they did. Isn't Brave New World the first Marvel movie that doesn't open with that?
Well,
logo?
no, what they've done is they've changed the logos, they show the characters from the movies, not the art. Go back and watch those Marvel logos. They do them, they make them custom every time. It's very clever. I like that. But they used to honor the art. They no longer do that. And it's
Chris, ego is a big part of it. The fact that they deleted the pictures is the super telling part of that. This is what we got. Gooch is in the chat here. That's the channel that had a Bo on for 2 hours, where it is a common thing of ego and those affronted to pull things like this. They don't respect the source material or the creators. It only counts if they do it. It's very similar to Disney Star Wars, where it's like, no, let's not do that. It only counts if we do it. And this is the result. You get petty things like this where the creator doesn't actually get to go to the after party of his own thing.
Well, but Rob also promotes the character in his off time. He's done more to tub thump for Deadpool 1 and 2. The marketing value alone that he's provided to the fan community has been enormous.
Yeah.
I've always loved Rob Liefeld. I think he's one of the funniest conversations I've ever had at Comic-Con in my life. Well, about 10 years ago, was with him, asking him about when he brought his Youngblood spaceship to Comic-Con in '94. We were at the Playboy party, and I couldn't stop laughing. It was embarrassing. He had me laughing to the point where I was just crying. He's great.
Yeah. And maybe Ryan Reynolds had something to do with it. I don't know. Maybe not. You know, we're hearing things. Who knows? Yeah.
I couldn't even put this blame on Ryan Reynolds at this point, man. Like, this has been an ongoing thing for a while now, where they've been just disrespecting these guys. I won't say stealing, but definitely taking their work and trying to make it theirs instead of giving them the proper respect.
No one is surprised this happened. Let's be real.
But then they'll have, like Jim Starlin, who created Thanos, was actually he appeared in Endgame. He was in the therapy group that Steve Rogers was with all the veterans. One of those was Jim Starlin. So they have honored creators in various ways. Len Wein, the creator of Wolverine, was in was it Days of Future Past, where he plays a senator. So they have honored these creators before. It seems silly that it isn't just par for the course. Like, why are they? I mean, it's obviously it's changing.
I'm assuming maybe political differences with some of the creators, or royalty differences, or just personality. You know what I'm saying? Ego.
100%.
But do we know if Rob had an issue with Disney before this?
Disney, no. Marvel Comics says,
or
and I don't think it's Disney, it's
or Marvel
Kevin
Studios,
specifically,
that way.
possibly.
Did Rob Liefeld have a problem with Marvel Studios before this?
Let's get to Soups as we wrap up. I'm seeing 2 movies tonight, so I'm seeing Neza 2, the animated.
Yeah. Tina Gooseman for 2. Did you see the Accountant 2 trailer? Looks good. Yeah, John Barenthal.
Does look good.
Thanks.
JTPRX, member for 29 months. I thought the Russos were taking the reins for the next 2 Avengers. They are. Is there hope they might steer the MCU in a better direction?
Yeah, Marcus and McFeely are back.
I think they only have one of them, though. Somebody told me they have both.
It's Steve McFeely, right?
Yeah. And I think that's just, it gives me pause.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's just wild that there's so far nothing that's happened in the MCU. How is that leading up to this new Doomsday movie? Whereas Infinity War and Endgame had the momentum of all of those other movies behind them.
Fantastic Four, I think, is the first shot to put anything new. Everything else is a holdover.
I fully think they're going to try to use it as a reset over using it as an actual, like you said, like a culmination of the last few years. I think it's just going to be a hard reset where they can introduce new characters and cast and get rid of things and recast.
I think that'll be Secret Wars.
Yeah,
like the comic was when they go into Battle World.
Mexican Iron Man member for 30 months. We got to meet at Award This. The best thing I've seen on streaming recently is The Gorge. Keep hearing about that.
I loved it.
Absolutely loved it. Apple Plus. Mexican Iron Man recommends. Yeah, Apple Plus has a lot of good stuff on it, people. Just saying.
I heard The Gorge was good. I kind of want to check it out. Actually.
I like it a lot.
Scott Derrickson. It's worth it. It's worth seeing.
It's a lot of fun.
Scott. Yeah, he's awesome. So
Matt Murphy for $4.99. Better question. If Bardem is taking the De Niro role, does that mean Adams is replacing Nolte, the Nick Nolte role?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's probably true.
Shake from Hunger TV just like when we do the Ace Ventura stare into the camera. Thank you, Shake. Shout out. Jason Yankovic for 5. Don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood, and I'm gonna get you, sucker. Better be on the list.
I love both those
They were,
movies.
but those movies are so good.
They're great. They're
Those were 90s though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Geek
90s.
Truth 64 for 2. The lack of Black Dynamite on this list is sad.
It was on the list.
I mean, he was on the list.
There's a long
higher.
list. Lord Comet for 2. Where's Black to the Future?
Yeah.
Yeah, they gotta make that movie.
Thomas Pickett for 5. Is Interstellar on the list since it is black holes? Get out.
Yeah,
Get out.
makes sense. The black hole should be on the
Yeah,
list.
the black hole. Where's the black?
JTPRX for 5. But for the last few years, the media woke mob saying there's no films with people of color. There are some great ones.
There
There
are
have-
great
There
ones.
have always been.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just don't think of them as black movies. Just think of them as good movies.
Yeah, just movies. Yeah.
Just movies.
Matthew Hammond for 2. Where are the Medea movies? I agree.
Where
with
they
Tyler
belong,
Perry.
not on the list.
On the list. Yeah, they did make it.
When Medea
Castle-
goes to jail, that didn't deserve to be on the list.
Oh, I would, yeah. Castle Grace Skull for 5. I have the power of Gray Skull, but I look like Skeletor. Oh. Happy birthday, RMB, and at Major Chai Chai. Bonjour from Canada.
Bonjour.
Thank you for that. I love Castle Grace Skull as a name.
Jimmy Francis for 20. Missing Cool Runnings, Crimson Tide, and Jackie Brown. It was everything after
Oh,
2000.
Those are 90s movies.
yeah.
All
We
90s,
don't know.
yeah.
Still, Jackie Brown.
Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. Okay, sorry. Willie, the Monkey King's music member for 6 months. While some horror movies have political messaging, it doesn't mean that all entertainment has to be political. Also, what's up, Alan? Big D-ing.
Hey, what's up, Willie the Monkey King?
I like social commentary by way of horror. Horror films and science fiction have commentary. Doesn't tell you what to think, but gives you fodder to think about issues.
Yes.
All the Romero Dead films have some light social commentary, but he's not telling you. It's not telegraphing it. It's just there if you look for it. And if you don't care, it's just zombies.
But since when do people not enjoy contemplating their life? I mean, the whole thing about political, we have changed the meaning of what political is. I mean, political now, on one hand, people just think I'm going to yell it's you're Trump or you're anti-Trump. That isn't what politics is. Discussing political theory and political ideology and political ideas. Since when has that become verboten? I mean, most great stories, Star Wars is about a rebellion against a political system.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to look at it that way or not, but it is. I mean, of the rebellion against the Empire. I mean, it's
but that's classical. And George Nolfi, the guy that's writing the New Jedi Order, he said as much, and Ray said as much. They're political, the classical, but that's not what everyone thinks. They've made both sides bigger than they should be, and then they amplify it.
But it still makes people think about, well, what is an empire? What is a rebellion? And it's definitely there. I mean, it's not overtly beating you over the head with it, but political ideology is part of human. As soon as human beings band together in a tribe, politics existed.
Tribalism.
We should do this. I mean, but not tribalism, but in terms of the tribe, what should we do? Should we do this or should we do that? And then people's opinions, it's like, well, I think we should do this. I have 3 people that think we should do this. Well, I've got 2 people that think we shouldn't. I mean, political theory is inherent to civilization.
I think the concept is, or the problem is pushing a political message or an agenda through
that is the
entertainment.
problem.
I think that's what people are kind of pushing back against. It's one thing to see political overtones or undertones in a film, but it's another thing when they are bashing you over the head with a message. When I'm just trying to escape and watch a horror movie, like I just want to see a killer clown off people and laugh at it, but nobody thinks from a standpoint of, is this going to teach me, preach to me, tell me some message that I don't want to hear?
Sure.
That's what people are kind of frustrated with, because we see a lot of that happening right now in mainstream entertainment.
Totally agree with you.
And there's like a modernization of it. It's like it all has to be relevant to now. And the one of the first things that came to my mind was the Drumhead. in Next Generation. Like nowadays, that episode would have been so like, I think it would have been heavily criticized for how political it was, but back then it was very relevant to, and I think rings true still today, you know, about, you know, seeing, you know, chasing political enemies and, you know, all of that stuff. But like that kind of writing doesn't happen today. It all has to be about modern politics. It all has to be about what's happening right now in today.
No nuance.
Instead of the discussion, about politics in general, or how we approach seeing governments and how in authority and authoritative figures and stuff. Everything has to be through the filter of like 2016 or up, you know,
100%.
and that gets very boring. So,
And even the title of that episode is a reference to history.
yeah,
You know, the drumhead was referring to what happened in the past, and that was
Exit music.
And if you look at all the great fantasists, I mean,
us
in the
off.
60s, the Twilight Zone, Star Trek, Outer Limits, they were all dealing with political issues.
absolutely.
Some Norwegian guy for 59 Norwegian krona, 0.59. Anyway, what I found funny about his post talking about being apolitical is that the first comment I saw under the post was Damien simping for LGBTQ plus. Amen. Gooch, shout out to Gooch, who had Bo DeMeo on for that 2-hour stream. Make sure to check that out. Gifted 5 Film Threat memberships, and then Lord Thoth, Lori.
Thank you to our mod. Thank you to Atomic Lori, Glenuccio. Want to thank Alan, who's back and who got this Valentine's. I don't know if you can see it here.
Aww.
Rule the Galaxy Valentine. Thank you, Alan.
You're
That was
welcome.
really nice of you. I want to thank all our panelists. There are links in the descriptions to their channels are down there. I watch them all. I'm fans of all you guys. So I love spending Monday with you. Anyone have something coming up we should know about?
Yes, my stream, which I will be sharing in the private chat for Lori. Sorry, I should have done that already. Thank you, Chris, for showing up on Inside the Badger Den and super chatting. What
Hell
is
yeah.
life when Chris shows up to one of your streams?
And well, I appreciate it. And we will talk next Monday. I want to thank Rob, DA, Verbal, Angry Badger, Epic Mike, and Alaning back from vacation. Alan,
Yes, great to be back.
finally.
I am,
Happy birthday,
I
Dante.
am thousands of dollars
Thank you.
lighter. Thank you.
Cool. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your. This is a holiday today, folks. I didn't
Yeah.
realize it. It is a
Yep.
holiday. So take care. See you.
It's
next
my
week.
birthday. President Trump. It's my birthday now. Thank you.
All right.
And I will
Alan?
be back on Wednesday for Hollywood on the Rocks.
That's right.
There you
Alan, you were going to say?
Let's get out of here.